years has been described as unprecedented, and it's feared the death toll could rise. It developed in southwest Oklahoma. About 30 people died around Oklahoma City. The other area worst affected was around Wichita. Some of the storm funnels were a mile across.
It sprang up late in the afternoon, turning the sky into night, a vast vacuum cleaner uprooting everything in its path.
It's incredible, it is huge!
The main tornado was nearly a mile wide. Dozens of smaller ones trailed in its wake. Together, they ripped through the southern suburbs of Oklahoma City.
We're all in this closet, all of us. My husband was cowered over us like this. Oh my God, it was so loud. It sounded like, oh, I just knew that stuff was just, we could hear stuff just pounding against the wall, and the rain and the noise and the wind. Oh.
Hello?
One moment they were hiding in their baths, under beds, in their cellars. The next they were buried under tons of rubble.
We were waiting right there by the cellar, and I just started hearing glass breaking and stuff, and we just ran downstairs.
Everything's gone?
But you're alive.
Yeah. I guess that's something to be thankful for.
They call this part of the Midwest Tornado Alley because there are so many, but this was something else. At least 30 people died in Oklahoma City, reminding residents of the Oklahoma bomb. The massive storm system then moved due north for 150 miles into Kansas, where it killed 6 more people. Meanwhile, another wave of tornadoes is reported to be on its way from the south, gathering strength with every hour. Tom Carver, BBC News, Washington.
Well, tornadoes are violently swirling wind systems, and some of those last night are thought to have reached speeds of around 300 miles an hour. The United States is the most tornado-prone country in the world. It suffers around 750 a year, and central Oklahoma gets more than anywhere else. The time and place when a twister will strike can't be predicted exactly, but there are warning signs in the shape of the vast thunderclouds where tornadoes form. It's thought the storm systems begin when a mass of warm, moist air meets a cold front. The warm air rises, and the differences in wind speed set the system spinning horizontally. At this stage, the speed is relatively slow, but the spinning tube can be drawn into a vertical position. What turns that harmless weather system into a full-blown tornado still isn't known, but sometimes the tube tightens and speeds up. Low pressures inside suck in air. It's thought downdrafts from the whole system are also drawn into the funnel and then up, like smoke in a chimney. Andrew Ridley is with the Oklahoma City Police, where most of the deaths occurred, and he joins me on the phone. Andrew Ridley, I imagine people are pretty shaken there this morning.
Yes, people here in Oklahoma City are in a state of shock, just because of the devastation inflicted by this massive tornado. People are still searching for their loved ones, even this morning. The devastation was just incredible. I've never seen a tornado of this magnitude ever.
Has the immediate danger passed? I mean, you're not worried that there are going to be any further storms during the course of the day?
That's what we're fearing right now. It looks like south of here that the atmosphere is brewing again, and it may be coming across this area again. And that's not good news for people who have lost everything at this point.
How about people like yourselves in the emergency services? Are you able to cope? Do you have the resources you need?
This town is really able to cope with something like this after the Oklahoma City bombing. We are stretched pretty thin right now, but area hospitals are able to handle all the injured. Emergency teams are currently searching through areas right now. We need every available resource possible that we can at this moment to help people at this time.
Andrew Ridley, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
Junior doctors say they're appalled at suggestions that the government wants to increase their working hours. At the moment, junior doctors are exempt from a European directive which says employees shouldn't work more than a 48-hour week. Now, according to papers seen by the BBC, the government wants their maximum hours to rise from 56 hours a week to 65. The BMA says the proposals are a slap in the face for junior doctors and a betrayal of patients. Police investigating the murder of Jill Dando are making a new appeal for information. They've been questioning people near her home in southwest London in the hope of jogging the memories of anyone who was in the area at the time of the crime. Jill was shot at point-blank range on her doorstep a week ago. A new vaccine against a life-threatening strain of meningitis could be widely available next year. It's hoped the vaccine could provide long-term protection for children against the potentially fatal C strain of the infection.
A vaccine already exists for meningitis C. Thousands of children in South Wales were given it this winter after an outbreak caused 3 deaths. But the current vaccine is not effective on babies under 18 months who are most at risk from the disease, and it does not provide long-term protection for children and adults. The new vaccine is thought to do both.
Meningitis is an absolutely devastating disease for people who suffer from it, people who die from it, and their families. To have an impact of this magnitude, which is, 1,000 cases a year being prevented and maybe 100 deaths or thereabouts, it is really quite major.
And meningitis C can also cause brain damage and deafness. Initial clinical trials of the new vaccine show it offered almost complete protection against the disease. The vaccine could become part of the immunisation programme for infants as early as next year, if it gets government approval. Fergus Walsh, BBC News.
Time's 1:15. Later in the programme, taxing us out of the habit. Does it work? And a tougher time for those facing their driving test. Does the price of cigarettes make a difference to whether or not you smoke? The last budget saw a 17p increase on a packet of 20, making the average price around £3.80. But the Tories say the rise in duty was pointless and counterproductive, and they claim more people are smoking, and they now have a greater incentive to buy abroad or even smuggle tobacco.
Smoking may be costing you more, but is the price stopping you from lighting up? No, say the Conservatives. Along with the tobacco manufacturers, they argue that the most absurd effect of Labour's policy of big tax rises on cigarettes is that more people are smoking.
I know a couple of foreign girls and that, and when they go back to Switzerland and France, they bring me some back mainly, They go there pretty regular.
Basically, I'm going to smoke anyway. Nothing's going to stop me besides my health. But my health, if it goes down, then I'll stop smoking.
I smoke probably a lot more than I can afford, The money could go to better use in other things, really, but, it's wasted money in cigarettes, really.
Official figures fly in the face of the Conservatives' argument. In the last 20 years, real price rises have been followed by